Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. Boy, I'm getting mileage out of this shirt today. 4 books. I've read 4 books today. Can you believe it? That's even a much for me. I'm usually averaging 2, but I did actually 4 books today. And this is where we read book, talk about books. No special effects here, no theme music going on. Sorry. Just me reading books, talking books. And I have this Christmas wish miracle. If we could hit the like and subscribe, let me know I'm doing a good job. I'd like 1,000 subscribers by Christmas. I know it's probably not possible, but I'm wishing for a Christmas miracle here. She likes my notes. Please help me out if you can. Those of you who've already subscribed, I thank you very much. Much appreciated. Like I said, I'm just trying to do my best here. My co-host showed up. The other one's over there. The other one's over there. And if you watched my earlier video, I knew this was supposed to do, I don't know if you can tell, but it lights up. It's got different colors. And I couldn't figure it out. And I'm a little stupid. And then I found the...
Hasn't it been a wonderful year, Mrs. Claus?
Indeed it has, Santa, and I'm happy to have shared it with you.
And there's no one I'd rather ring in the new year with than you, my dear. Happy New Year!
So, I'm guessing that I should have waited to play this at the end of the month. But I didn't know that's the song it played. I just figured out, I was like, oh, what's this button here? I feel so stupid. But anyways, as I mentioned previously, because of December is a hard month for me to get through, I go through my comfort books. And my comfort books, and I'm a series person, so I will binge read an entire series in like 2 weeks. But if you've been doing the reading with your own challenge, I've been reading what I own all year. I probably read over 400 of my books this far this year. We're reading all the J.D. Robs. I did one today. You'll see that in a few days. I've been doing Janet EVANOVICH a week. 1 for the money, 2 for the dough, 3 to get deadly, 4 score, high 5, hot 6, 7 up, hard 9, hard 8, to the 9s, big 10s, and 11 on top. I'm an audiobook. I love Lorelei King. Susan Erickson does the J.D. Rob. I always get this. But I'm telling you, I live these books through the audio. You got to listen to her say them. She's just excellent. And I'm sorry, I have to share. I cannot do these books without sharing them with you. My joy and love for these books, especially J.D. Rob and Janet, I have to just share. That's just who I am. And I could appreciate you hanging out with me while I share these books with you and my enthusiasm for these books with you. I'd really appreciate it. So like I said, December is a hard time for me. My mom has passed. My daughter has passed. My aunt has passed. My grandparents have passed. Everybody's dead. There isn't anybody. I used to go to Hallmark and spend tons of money. I could only buy 1-2 cards this year. And then a set of box cards to send out to, distant friends from other states. There's nobody else here. Everybody's dead. My childhood friend died too. She's younger than me. What the F was up with that? So, it's the time of the year where I go for my Janets and my J.D. Robs, my comfort books. And that's what these are, my comfort books. She's going to take off her collar. I've said before, I may even get some more cats. My comfort cat died. And emotional support cat is what I called him. because him and his mother, who died of cancer 10 years ago, they are a rare breed of cats. And I don't mean the cat themselves. I mean, well, yeah, I mean the cats themselves. They were just a regular breed. But what I mean was they were comfort care in the fact that you could hold them when you wanted to, when you needed a hug. They were there for you for anything. They would always call. They would always come to you. Always. The ones I've got now are the other way, and the more common brand of cats. I will come to you when I want to. I will let you hold when I'm in the mood to be held. Like, you pick up your cat and she bitches and itches and bitches, so you put her down. Well, then she comes back because then it's on her terms. She doesn't want to be held on your terms. She wants to be held on her terms. And that's the average cat for you. So that's what I'm saying. The comfort cats are hard to find. So I need my Janet. And I need my likes and subscribes. And I'm sorry, I've read 4 books today. It's been a much. We've got Stephanie. She's a bond enforcement agency, or she was. First page, she quits. She's had it. So I gotta start. You gotta stick with me for this. So she goes in. Give me a break, Connie said. You can't quit. I've got a stack of open files. Give them to Ranger. Ranger doesn't do the low bonds. He only takes the high risk cases. Give them to Lula. Lula standing hand on hip watching me spar with Connie. Lula, a size 16 black woman squished into a size 10 leopard print spandex. And the weird thing is, in her own right, Lula looks pretty good in the animal spandex. Hell yeah, I could catch them sons of bitches. I could hunt them asses down. I'm only gonna miss you. She said to me, what are you gonna do if you don't work here? And what brought this on? Look at me. I said, I'm a mess. What do you see? Lula said, you should take care of better yourself. I went after Sam Sporky this morning. Melonhead Sporky? Yeah, Melonhead. I chased him through 3 yards. A dog tore a hole in my jeans. Some crazy old lady shot at me, and I tackled Sporky behind Tip Top Cafe. It looks like it was garbage day. You don't smell good, and you've got something looks like mustard all over your ass. I hope that's mustard. There were a bunch of garbage bags at the curb, and Melonhead rolled me into them. We made sort of a mess, and then when I finally got him in cuffs, he spit on me. So, she quits. And she goes to the bakery and gets some Boston creams. She sees Morelli and makes dinner plans. Then she heads to the button factory. Someone shoots at her car. She goes to the button factory because her friend Karen Soblaski had promised her a job if she ever needed one. She gets to the button factory and asks for Karen and finds out Karen just quit. So she goes and talks to the boss, Jimmy Alzi, and she gets the job and she starts tomorrow. So then she goes to the tasty pastry and gets a cake. It was a birthday cake that no one picked up. She goes home and eats off the flowers off the cake, gets sick, goes to pass out on her bed, and there's a note on her pillow, be afraid. She visits, Ranger visits, wants to know if she was serious about quitting, and then she tells him she got a job at the button factory, and he sees the note. They talk about the note. Lula calls. Willie Martin is not cooperating. Apparently, Willie Martin was famous, and Lula had the hots for him, so she decided the best way to get him was to get him in bed and then handcuff him during the sexual exploitation. Well, Willie turned the tide on her and handcuffed her instead, so she called Stephanie to go pick her up, to come rescue her. And Stephanie goes to rescue her, and while she's rescuing Lula, Martin is taking a sledgehammer to her car, and Lula leans out the window and goes, hey, you idiot, that's not my car, that's her car. So it was a whole mess. So then she goes to Morelli's, and he's working on the Michael Baroni case, and he fills her in. It's a 62-year-old man, and he's disappeared. And apparently, there are two other guys from that same area that are also missing. So then she gets to her parents' house, and we heard you quit your job, Grandma said. We've been calling and calling, but you haven't been answering your phone. I need to know the details. I got a beauty parlor appointment this afternoon, and I gotta get the story straight. All right, now, in the Berg, the gossipy line is the beauty parlor, the deli, the bakery, and the viewings at the funeral home. The big form of entertainment in the funeral home is the viewings. Not much of a story, I said, following Grandma into the hallway foyer. I thought it was time for a change. That's it, time for a change? I can't tell people that it's that story. It's boring. I need something better. How about we tell them you're pregnant? Or maybe we could say you got a rare blood disease, or that there was a contract put on your head unless you gave up being a bounty hunter. Sorry, I said. None of those things are true. Yeah, but don't matter. Everybody knows you can't believe everything you hear. So then they're talking at the table, and her grandmother says, I saw a sign up at the cleaners. Grandma said, I don't know about career advancement, but they do a lot of professional pressing. I see a lot of people taking their business suits there. I was hoping for something a little more challenging. Dry cleaning's challenging, Grandma said. It's not easy getting all them spots out, and you gotta have people skills. I heard them talking behind the counter about how hard it was to find someone with people skills. And no one would shoot at you, my mother said. No one ever robs a dry cleaner. I had to admit that part appealed to me. It would be nice to not have to worry about getting shot. Maybe working at the dry cleaners would be an okay temporary job until the right thing came along. So she does that. And she goes to Morelli's and sleeps over, and she I mean she had her first day at the button factory, and she was late, and she got fired. And then she had the situation with her parents and does the cleaner job. So she arrives at the bond's office, and Lula talks her into helping her with the FTA, and the FTA shoots at her car. So then she talks to Morelli, and they go to the funeral viewing, and Grandma Bella is there, and Grandma Bella is she's I'm gonna put the eye on you person. She's Joseph's grandmother, and everybody is afraid of his grandmother, but not Joe. So they get into it. Mitzi Mellon was standing next to me at the cookie table. Oh my God, Bitsy said. I hope she's glaring at you and not me. Last week she put the eye on Francine Blaney, and Francine got a bunch of big herpes scores all over her face. The eye is like Grandma Bella voodoo. She puts her finger to her eye and she mumbles something, and whatever calamity happens to you after that, you can pin on the eye. I guess it's a little like believing in hell. You hope it's bogus, but you never really know for sure, do you? I'm betting Francine got herpes from her worthless boyfriend, I said to Bitsy. I'm not taking any chances, Bitsy said. I'm going to hide in the ladies' room until the viewing is over. Oh no. Oh my God, here she comes. What should I do? I can't breathe. I'm gonna faint. And she comes over to Stephanie. You, Grandma Bella said, pointing her finger at me. You broke my Joseph's heart. No way! Swear to God. Is there a ring on your finger? No. It's a scandal. You brought disgrace to my house. A respectable woman would be married and have children by now. You go to his house and tempt him with your body, and then you leave. Shame on you. Shame, shame. I put the eye on you. Make your teeth fall out of your head. Turn your hair gray. Cause your female parts to shrink away until there's nothing left of them. Grandma Mazur elbowed her way through the crush of people around the cookie table. What's going on here? What'd I miss about female parts? Your granddaughter is a Jezebel, Grandma Bella said, jumping in and out of my Joseph's bed. Half the women in the burg have been in and out of his bed. Grandma said, heck, half the women in the state. And they go into it, they end up rolling around, and the lady dumps iced tea on them. You gotta check it out. So, then there's another note in her car, and her car explodes, goes in the back seat. And people don't want her driving the car. And so then she goes to the dry cleaners to get a job. And apparently the lady that runs the dry cleaners is seriously Mama says you should be careful. She says she's keeping her eye on you, Gina said. I smiled at Mama Macaroni and gave her a thumbs up. Mama Macaroni responded with a death glare. When you have time between customers, you can tag the clothes, Gina said. Every single garment must get tagged. We have a machine that you use, and you have to make sure that the number on the tag is the same as the number on the customer receipt. By noon, I was completely lost the use of my right thumb from using the tagging machine. You got to go faster, Mama Macaroni said to me from her stool. I see you slow down. You think we pay you for nothing? A man hurried through the front door and approached the counter, his mid-40s and dressed in a suit and tie. I picked up my dry cleaning up yesterday, he said, and all the buttons are broken off my shirt. Mama Macaroni got off the stool and scanned her way to the counter. What? The buttons are broken. She shook her head. I no understand. He showed her the shirt. The buttons are all broken. Yeah, you broke them. she's just a train wreck. So then, she calls Joe. Someone put a boot on her car to prevent her from using her car, and that was Morelli used his connections. So she calls Ranger to remove it. And she's starving. She hasn't had food, so he brings her a turkey sandwich because Ranger is a health nut. He likes healthy food. He does not believe in junk food. He does not believe in cake or cookies or any of that stuff. And Stephanie's just going bonkers, and he brings her a healthy sandwich. So she tells him she thinks it's Spiro's kid has returned and is doing all this stuff to her and all these threats. They talk about the missing Michael Baroni and Benny Gorman and Louis Laza, and she goes with Ranger to get Eroy Dish. It's just, she obeys Ranger by staying in the vehicle while Ranger and his men go into the bar to get the FTA. And wait a second. When Eloy's drunk or drugged, he's fearless and wicked crazy. When he's clean and sober, he's just plain mean. Bluefish is a bar on Lower Stark, dead center in Dish County. No point to breaking down a door and attempting to drag a dish out of his rat trap apartment when you can just wait for him to waltz into the Bluefish for a cold one. So they wait. I was feeling a little left out, but I was telling myself it was much better this way. No more danger, no more mess, no more embarrassing screws up. I was focused on the door to the bar, not paying attention to the street, and suddenly the driver's door to the porch was wrenched open and a guy slid into me. He was in his 20s, wearing a ball cap sideways and about 60 pounds of gold chains around his neck. He had a diamond chip implanted in his front tooth, and the two teeth next to the chip were missing. He smiled at me and pressed a barrel of a gleaming silver-plated monster gun into my temple. Yo, bitch, how about you get your ass out of my car? In my mind, I saw myself out of the car and running, but the reality of the situation was that all systems were down. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, I couldn't speak. Goes to him up. He tries to get her out, she won't get out. He leaned forward and reached for the gun, and I punched him in the ear as hard as I could. His head bounced off the wheel jerked hard to the left. We cut across oncoming traffic, the porch jumps the curb, plowed through a stack of plastic garbage bags, and crushed through the plate glass window of a small delicatessen that was closed for the night. She goes, I'm going to make her the star of my videos. Every single time I do a video, she goes off. She doesn't tell time, but every time I do a video, she goes off. I'm going to make that clock part of my video. I'm going to bring her and put her over here and dare her to go off, and watch, she won't go off. Oh, she's too much. The front airbags inflated with a bang, and I was momentarily stunned. I fought my way through the bag, somehow got the doors open, and rolled out onto the deli floor. I was on my hands and knees in the dark, and it was wet under my hand. Blood, I thought. Get outside. Get help. And she's actually laying in dill. She broke the large pickle jar. Hey, no playing with the tree. So then her then she goes back to work at the dry cleaner. And Lulu wants her shirt, and she said, well, as long as I'm here, I'll get Connie's and Vinny's. But Mama won't let her take anything without a receipt. And one thing leads to another. Hey! You're better than this. I should put the camera on the tree. She's trying to climb it. Have you seen those memes? People watch those videos for hours. Could you do something entertaining over here? Hey, Smokey. You'd rather watch her anyway, wouldn't you? So, Stephanie gets fired from the dry cleaners. So then, you and Wires are good. Come here, you. Smokey, come here. So Lula talks her into going after another FTA. And Stephanie is in a mood, and she shoots the FTA in the foot, and they get him. She calls her father for a ride. She goes to the house, and Sally Sweet, if you remember Sally or Salvatore, he's a cross-dresser. He was helping Valerie plan the wedding. She's getting married this Saturday, and tensions are very, very high in the house. And it's bad. We'll get to it. Let me see. Let me just check. I wanted. So. Yes. So Albert gets himself in some very hot water. He is talking about a divorce case. He's got a client, and he says that she was a dope. and the client was a dope because her husband did X, Y, E, and it's almost exactly what Valerie's husband did. And Clone's like, what? He searched the faces in the room. Something was wrong. He missed it. He focused on Valerie, and you could see his mind working backward, and then it hit him. Kaboom. You're different, he said to Valerie. I mean, you have a reason for being a dope. Well, not a dope, actually. I don't mean to say you were dope, okay? You might have been a little dopey. No, wait, I didn't either. Hey, hey, hey. If you're gonna do that, cop, do it on camera. But no, Smokey, Smokey, you are not gonna be in my tree. You're not gonna break my ornaments. Smoke, Smoke, no, don't fight those wires. Smoke. I'm watching you. I'm trying to enjoy my book here. So after dinner, they go. Stephanie and Lula go back to the dry cleaners. Lula wants to break in and get her sweater because it was a very expensive sweater, and Stephanie wants to get her car. So they sneak in the back door of the dry cleaners, and Mama Macaroni is waiting for them, and she has a shotgun with them, and she starts shooting, and she's gonna climb a tree. Smokey, why you've been good for all these years? Why all of a sudden? She's never touched a tree her whole life. This is the first time she's ever touched the tree. Maybe because I'm here. And so Mama Macaroni shoots up the place and threatens them. And she tells Stephanie she wants her car. Stephanie gives her the key to the car. Mama Macaroni goes out the back door, gets in Stephanie's car, and there's a kaboom. The car completely explodes. So then they go to Cluck in a Bucket for a snack to calm the nerves, and Stephanie, Lulu talks her into applying for a job there since it's free. You trying to kiss up to me now that you did all those bad things? So she gets a job at Cluck in the Bucket, and she starts off. The owner has her do 2-hour shifts at the register, 2-hour shifts in the grill, and 2-hour shifts at the drive-thru. And she's in the drive-thru, and Spiro comes to the drive-thru. He tosses her a box, wrapped present. Her coworker says it's ticking. He believes it's a bomb, and he says, I hear you're supposed to throw it in water. Instead of throwing it in water, he throws it in the vat of grease, and one thing leads to another, and it explodes. So then they go. The next night, they have dinner with her parents, and they go to the viewing, and they see one of their FTAs. They go after him, after Spiva, and Grandma Mazur accidentally runs over Joe and breaks his leg. So Joe has a broken leg for the rest of the book. And she's so depressed and stuff about the situation that she tells her mother that she can play the cello. It's just, I don't know if you've watched my other videos, but when I want you to make up your own mind about a situation, I'm like, it's just, and you can fill in the blank. Yes, you're wonderful. You're excellent. Yeah, right. You need to stay out of my tree. I don't want to find any of my ornaments on the ground. And no eating the wires either. So I searched my mind and came up with nothing. I did mental replay of yesterday. What did I do? I blew up a car and an old lady. Not personally, but I was somewhere in the mix. What else? I made love to Morelli a lot. My mother wouldn't want to hear about that. I got fired. I shot a guy in the foot. She wouldn't want to hear about that either. I can play the cello. I said, I don't know where it came from. It just flew out of my mouth. My mother and grandmother stood frozen in the open. Don't beat that all, Grandma said. Who would have thought you could play the cello? I had no idea. You've never mentioned it before. Why didn't you tell me? I was shy. It's one of those personal hobbies, personal cello playing. And they con her into playing the wedding. She can't play. And then she's like, later on, she's like, I gave my cello away. I didn't need it anymore. So that situation happens. And so then Ranger invites her to have a job at Rangeman. And this is where she'll be secure. She can park her vehicle in the garage. There'll be no bombing, blah, blah, blah. So I have to share this. So she's talking with Morelli. Morelli released me. Hard to believe, but I'm actually relieved. I was afraid you were going to be out there trying to find Spiro today. Go figure this. You love me, I said to Morelli. Yeah, I love you, he said expectantly. And I like you too. She couldn't say it. She absolutely couldn't say it. She couldn't say the L word. So there's something going on here. And then she goes to Rangeman and Ranger tells her about the working arrangements, and he tells her about the eating arrangements and the food in the cafeteria. And he says there's always sandwiches and more vegetables and fruit. He goes, if you want cheese doodles or tasty cakes, you're going to have to bring your own. My office manager is going to come by and talk salary with you. And he's going to have Ella order her some Rangeman shirts. And if you decide to go back to Vinny, you can keep the shirts. He smiled and says, I like the idea of you wearing my name on your breast. And she tells him about the mole. Would you stop with the wires? When she'd gotten home earlier that day, there was a mole at her front door. And it wasn't the real mole. It was funeral home's putty thing. So they talk some more. They flirt some more with Ranger. So then Ranger takes her to the shooting range to practice shooting, because if she's going to handle a gun, she really needs to learn how to use one. So she goes to get ready. The next day she's at Morelli's, and she goes to get dressed for work, and she's wearing black clothes. And Morelli says, are you dressing sexy for Ranger? She was in black jeans, black sneakers, a V-neck black t-shirt that showed no cleavage whatsoever. And I said, is that sarcasm? And he said, no, it's an observation. I said, this is not sexy. He said, that shirt is too skimpy. I've worn this shirt a million times. You've never objected to it before. That's because you wore it for me. You need to change. So she goes upstairs and she changes into skin tight black spandex workout pants that rode low and were worn commando. I changed my shoes to black Pumas and I wiggled into a black spandex wrap shirt that didn't quite meet the top of the workout pants and showed a lot of cleavage, at least as much as I could manage without implants. I stomped down the stairs, paraded in the living room to show Morelli, is that better? That'll teach him. And then she has a conversation with Ranger, a similar one that she had with Joe. She's going off again. I'm gonna put you on camera. Ranger cradled my face in his hands, using his thumbs to wipe the tears from my eyes. The ceremony is over. Can you make it back to the car? They went to a funeral. She doesn't even know the person, but she can't help herself. She cries at funerals, regardless of where it is, regardless of who it is. I'm okay, and I'm red and blotchy from crying. Yes, Ranger said, brushing a kiss across my forehead. I love you anyway. There's all kinds of love, I said. Ranger took me by the hand and led me back to this SUV. This is the kind that doesn't call for a ring, but a condom might come in handy. That's not love, I told him. That's lust. He was scanning the crowd as we walked and talked, watching for Spiro, watching for anything unusual. In this case, there's some of both, just not the marrying type. Look at me, babe. I'm carrying 2 guns and knife. At this point in my life, I'm not exactly family material. Do you think that will change? Ranger opened the door. Not anytime soon. And it goes on. So, then, she's at her parents' house, and it leads to, they actually have a food fight. Her mother, her grandmother, they're all there and they have a food fight. So her mother is a little tipsy. Oh, and this is the book where the ironing starts. I thought it was an earlier book. I looked for it. I tried to pay attention for it. But this is the first book with the ironing. I really, really thought it was a whole serious thing. And so she told her mother that she would stay off sugar if her mother would stay off alcohol. And it kills her the whole rest of the book because she spends the entire rest of the book thinking of donuts. And I will tell you, I've mentioned this previously, that if I see Krispy Kreme, I think of Janet. If I see Janet, I think of Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts or Cluck in the Bucket. I can't see those things without seeing Janet. I can't see Stephanie without seeing the foods. They go together. They mesh. I could sit here with a whole box of glazed donuts, warmed. They have to be warmed, and and about 5 gallons of milk. I'm a milk drinker. I don't do coffee. I don't do hot tea, except for tea and toast when you're sick or something. But I'm a milk. I'll drink a gallon of milk in a day. But they get into this food fight, and so you have to read the book to find out if what happens if they actually get Willie Martin, the FTA, who is really bombing and firing Stephanie and tempting her life. And there's an interesting, I just want to look and see what I meant, because I made this note and I want to just double check and see what it was. I guess it wasn't. So she was in an incident of bonding incident, FTA. And Ranger goes to take her home, and she had changed at Ranger's place and put all brand new clothes on, but she didn't have underwear. Well, shit. I need to turn you off. My cat just tripped over the wire and took it flying. So anyways, I have a working relationship with Morelli. I think he's a good cop and he thinks I'm a loose cannon. Since we both carry cannons, I try not to do things that would upset the balance in an insulting way. I wanted to give you a chance to wake up so we didn't sit at the curb in front of his house. Look like a couple of teenagers adjusting their clothes. Ranger looked at me. You got the rest of your clothes from Ella, didn't you? Damn, I forgot I was working and then I fell asleep. She's got my underwear. Ranger laughed out loud when he looked back at me. He was smiling the full-on Ranger smile. I'm worrying about parking too long in front of Morelli's house and bringing home his girlfriend without her underwear. I'll have to put double security on the building tonight. He put the Porsche in gear, drove half a block, parked. Lights were on in the downstairs room. Are you going to be okay? Morelli's reasonable. He'll understand. So, to find out who was doing the bombings, who had trying to kill Steph, and what the secret was to the 4 missing guys, and why they were eventually found dead, and what the connection is. It's discovered at the very end of the story, and it's a very interesting story. So please check it out. Please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job. I gotta find my child, my cat, before she destroys anything else in this house and my tree comes down. Oh, wait a minute. Are you coming to see me? Are you coming to see me? Come here. You want to play? You want to play? Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. You know it's a trap, right? Come here. Come on. Come on. Come say hi. Come say goodbye. Come on. Come on. One paw at a time, huh? 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 That's it. She's going. She's not falling for it. So you have a good one. Have a good night. And keep on clucking with me and Stephanie and the gang. Thank you so much for enjoying this book with me and indulging. Thank you.